Hey first grade, today is Tuesday, April 7th, and we will be reading Wangari's Trees of Peace today, a true story from Africa, and focusing on 5 vocabulary words. I will point the vocabulary words out as we are reading them, and then after you have finished watching the video, you're going to go back to that PowerPoint and you are going to do the 2 vocabulary worksheets that we have assigned for you, and then be sure to post them on your portfolio so that I can see your awesome work. Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. And she helps harvest sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. 6 years later, her studies over, Wangari returns to her Kenya home to see a change. What has happened, she wonders. Where are the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. And where are the birds? So on this page we have 2 vocabulary words, hauling and barren. So let's read those sentences and look at the picture again and see if we can figure out what they mean. Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. I think this would be a good time to check the picture because I see women hauling firewood. What are they doing? What is the synonym for hauling firewood? She sees barren land where no crops grow. So when I look at the pictures and I see that no crops are growing, and I look at this very first picture where trees grow and there's birds, I wonder what the word barren. She sees barren land where no crops grow. Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert, she wonders, as her tears fall. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, 1 tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. So when we look at the picture, we can see that she's planting a seedling. What does that seedling look like? What does the word seedling mean? Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari an idea to plant more. She starts a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space, she plants row after row of tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see. We are planting the seeds of hope. So we have the word village. And I think you know what village means, but they'll talk about it again later in the book. And then we heard the word seedling a couple of times. So be sure that you're thinking about what that word means, seedlings. The women spread out all over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows. So they're spreading out all over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows like a green belt stretching over the land. The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings. Earnings is one of our vocabulary words. So let's read this whole page again and see if we can figure out what earnings means. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings. And look at the picture. What is an earning? Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are helping planting long rows of seedlings too. I think this is a good page to talk about what village means. So let's read it again. Soon other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. So villages and towns and cities. What do you think a village is? But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect old trees still remaining. We need a park. We need a park more than we need an office tower. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still she stands tall. Right is right, even if you are alone. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spread over all of Africa like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. An umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women will walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugar cane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her army of women who planted them. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see millions of trees growing below you, and the green Wangari brought back to Africa. So this last page has lots of information from the author about Wangari. Wangari Maathai was born in 1951 in Ithi, a small village in the verdant, fertile land of Kenya. Brilliant in school, Wangari was awarded the Kennedy Scholarship to attend college in America, where she earned both a bachelor's and master's degree in biological sciences. Wangari returned to Kenya to attend the University of Nairobi and became the first woman in East Africa to earn a PhD. She taught at the university and today is a member of Parliament in Kenya. Wangari started the Green Belt movement in Africa in 1977 on World Environment Day by planting 9 seedlings in her backyard. She was responding to the growing deforestation of her homeland. She saw many changes in daily life, especially among rural women. Some of these changes were a lack of firewood, poor soil, erosion, and a lack of clean drinking water. The desert was creeping closer and encroaching on fields where crops and trees once flourished. She enlisted local women to help her plant more indigenous trees. By 2014, 30 million trees had been planted, 6,000 nurseries existed in Kenya, and the income of 80,000 people had increased, and the movement had spread to 30 African countries and beyond. Wangari Maathai was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2004 because of her contribution to world peace through the Green Belt movement. In African tradition, a tree is a symbol of peace. So it was fitting that when notified of the winning of the award, one of Wangari's first acts was to plant a Nandi flame tree in the base of Mount Kenya. In her acceptance speech, she said, "We are called to assist the earth, to heal her wounds, and in the process heal our own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder." So we have finished Wangari's Trees of Peace. And I will see you tomorrow as we talk more about Wangari and all of the wonderful things that she did for the world.